Today, I'm going to be preparing tempeh and cabbage stir fry. I chose this recipe because it's easy. I mean, who doesn't love a good stir fry? There is no exact way to do it. And again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Once I start cooking, I'm going to adjust the phone so that you can see directly into my skillet. So I won't be able to see your questions or comments, but I will be speaking out loud. Let me grab my cabbage and my tempeh. So as I was saying, I love stir fries because they are quick and they are so easy to put together. Basically, whatever is in your refrigerator or freezer, whatever is in your refrigerator or freezer that you want to put together quickly, go ahead and do that. I chose this particular recipe today because we're talking about diabetes and pre-diabetes. And one thing that you need to watch is your consumption of carbohydrate. Well, cabbage is a low carbohydrate food item. And so this is perfect if you are looking to lower or just monitor or just have something different. Tempeh, if you are not familiar with it, tempeh is made from soy. And this particular one, this is an organic 3-grain tempeh. I need to put my glasses back on so I can read the small print for you. The 3 grains that are in here are rice, barley, and millet. And I'm going to open the package so that you can see what it looks like. And I purchased this at Trader Joe's, but wherever you find tofu being sold, you may also be able to find tempeh. So this is what it looks like. See? I don't know how well you can see it. Turn this backlight off. Maybe that's a little bit better. Okay. And so there's that. So first, I'm going to start by making the sauce that I'm going to add to the stir fry once it is complete. I am using tamari. You can also use soy sauce. Okay, all right. So into a little bowl, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of tamari. Again, if you don't have tamari and you prefer to use soy sauce, that's absolutely fine. This is toasted sesame oil. And to this bowl, I'm going to add, it should be, I'm going to add half of a tablespoon of sesame oil. A little bit of sriracha. I like the heat. And so if you don't like heat, then you can play with the levels of sriracha that you add to this. I am going to add a half of a tablespoon because I like it spicy. And then to that, finally, I'm going to add a little bit of brown sugar. And by a little bit, I mean like half of a tablespoon. Okay. You can use a little bit less. And then we're going to give it a nice little stir and set it aside. Go ahead and stir that for about a minute or so. You want to make sure that the sugar is completely dissolved in that. You can see it coming together. And I can smell the toasted sesame oil, and it smells yummy. With stir fry, the one thing that you want to make sure that you do before you turn your stove on is that you have all of your ingredients prepped and ready to go, because you're going to be cooking on high heat and you don't have time to stop and chop and stop and chop and stir. Your food will burn, and that kind of defeats the purpose. Okay, so this is looking good. I'm going to stir for about 30 more seconds and then move on to the next step. While I'm going to finish stirring that, I'm going to turn the heat on under my skillet, like medium high. Okay. I think that's good, right? I don't know if you can see it really well, but again, this has tamari, toasted sesame oil, your sriracha, and a little bit of brown sugar. And if you are like me, you clean up and you put things away as you go along, because I just don't like clutter. So, all right. So the next thing you want to do, I'm going to move these spoons out of my way. Next thing that I want to do is, this recipe calls for like 4 to 6 cups of shredded cabbage. I normally will buy a whole head of cabbage, but the store didn't have any yesterday. And so, perfect lesson in being flexible. You know, sometimes a recipe will call for, example, this recipe said to use soy sauce, but I prefer to use tamari. The recipe said to, get a head of cabbage. Well, there was no cabbage available. So I bought some shredded cabbage. If you don't find shredded cabbage, can you find some frozen cabbage and throw it in the freezer? That's also what I love about buying frozen fruits and vegetables. They don't spoil. Therefore, I'm not going to end up throwing it into the garbage and wasting money. And I know sometimes I speak with members and they have questions about that, that for some reason, fresh is best. It's not always the case, especially if it goes bad before you have an opportunity to use it. So I would rather you have your canned items, that you have your frozen items on hand when needed, rather than just depending on fresh food that isn't so fresh anymore. All right, next step. So I started this morning, I started shredding my carrots. I don't know why I did that. I should have just waited until now, but that's okay. So here, this is a white carrot. Why do I have a white carrot? Because I bought a bag of multicolored carrots. And so white carrot, 1 scallion, and a couple cloves of garlic. I feel like the amount of garlic you use depends on how much you like garlic. I love garlic. And so I used about 4 cloves of garlic. The recipe also calls for ginger, about a tablespoon of ginger. So I'm going to grate that now. You can just use your vegetable peeler or a knife or a spoon to remove the outer layer of your ginger. Go ahead, if you compost, put your vegetable scraps in your compost and put it back to the earth. And ginger is so great for so many reasons. One, it can help to support your immune system. And I did wake up this morning with, well, I woke up yesterday morning with a scratchy throat. And so having some fresh ginger would be really great right about now. But ginger also has some other wonderful health benefits. It has, the literature shows that it can help with cholesterol levels. It can help lower and regulate your blood glucose levels. It can help with inflammation. It can help with nausea, upset stomach. And so get some ginger in your life, okay? So I'm going to take my box grater and I'm going to pick one side. Those of you who want to see all the action. One moment, please. To my pan that I heated, I'm going to add a little bit of coconut oil. You can use any neutral oil that you desire. I just happen to have coconut oil. So again, I am not a food, well, maybe I am a food snob sometimes, but I will never tell someone what they should or should not eat. And so you use whatever is in your kitchen, okay? Whatever you feel comfortable using. I'm just giving other options. So we have our ginger. I said about what, half a tablespoon to a tablespoon. I love ginger as much as I love garlic. So there we go. All right, so the first thing that we want to do, we have our pan heated. I'm going to bring you all over here. I'm going to adjust and turn this fire down. I'm going to adjust this. Make sure that you can see. Okay. Right. And if you have any problem seeing that, then Andrea or Susan, let me know, please, so I can adjust it a little further. So as you can see, my iron is, my skillet is a little bit hot. It's smoking. I'm gonna just move that for a minute. I just want it to cool down. But again, I have my carrots, my scallion, ginger, garlic, to which I'm going to, okay, that's good. Now to my pan, I'm gonna add my tempeh. And so you can use any protein that you like. If you want to use, the recipe that I adapted this from was using ground beef. Well, I don't use ground beef, but you can use ground chicken or ground turkey, any ground meat that you like. If you're using tempeh like I am, all you want to do is break it up with your hands, just as I'm doing. You can hear that sizzle. And because this is a plant-based product, you don't have to, quote unquote, cook it the same way that you would raw meat, okay? You might just want to cook it so that it gets a little brown color to it. That is a very personal option for you. My tempeh in here. And to that, I'm going to add the garlic and the ginger. And I'm going to stir it up. And I don't know, well, I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to move you a little bit closer, but I can already see the tempeh starting to get some color to it. And if you're not familiar with what tempeh tastes like, it does not taste like chicken. I know we always want to compare something that we're not familiar with to chicken, but it tastes like whatever you season it, same as tofu, okay? But it has a nutty texture, a nutty taste to it. I also like using it in pasta sauces. It's really great for that. You can use it in soup and stews. Again, it's an excellent source of protein, a plant-based protein. And you don't have to be plant-based or vegetarian or vegan to enjoy this meal, right? It's just one meal. We don't have to have animal protein in every meal that we eat, okay? So now that that's going, I am going to just add a little pinch of salt. And I'll say this, if you are also concerned about sodium intake or you prefer not to cook with any salt, that's fine. I'm just going to put a pinch. This is a great alternative This is a great alternative. It is a seed seasoning. So this has adult flakes. It's a seaweed, basically. It comes from the seed. So kelp, nori, seaweed, things like that. This is a great substitute. It's full of iodine, but no salt. And we do need iodine for our thyroid health. I'm also going to add a little bit of black pepper. And if you notice, I'm putting the seasonings in my hand and not grinding it directly over the heat. And the reason for this is I don't want the condensation from the skillet going into my container with my seasoning, because that's just going to make it all cakey and destroy or shorten the shelf life of that. All right, so now I'm going to add my carrots, my green onions, and my cabbage. And I'm not even going to measure this out. Remember, I said 4 to 6 cups. I open the bag. I'm going to use the whole bag. Okay. And just take your time and fold everything together. And I can smell the ginger. I love the colors that I see already. And one thing, if you've ever worked one-on-one with me, something that I always encourage our members to do is to make sure that they are eating the rainbow. Eat lots of vibrant colors, because you're getting the benefit of different antioxidants from all of the different colors. And you know what? I'm actually going to keep the rest of this for something else. There's more than enough cabbage in this right now. And then finally, I'm going to take the sauce that I just made. Beautiful sauce. I'm going to pour the sauce all over that. Hear that? Do you hear that sizzle? Now, are you the type to clean as you go up, or do you just clean up after you've made your mess? I like to clean as I go, as I've said before. This smells really, really good, and you can see the sauce is starting to coat all of the cabbage and the tempeh. And at this point, you can go ahead and turn the fire off because it's done. Okay. And then the only thing left to add, and it's just totally optional, be some black sesame seeds. Or I'll just say sesame seeds. I just happen to have black sesame seeds at the moment. And then if you want to add some more scallions on the top, something else that I thought about earlier was some walnuts would be delicious on this, some toasted walnuts. So you can take some raw walnuts. Hold on. I'm going to have a bag of raw walnuts. So I would probably take some raw walnuts, toast them in another skillet for about 10 minutes, and then add them to this dish. And so, hold on, bring it back up here. This dish is perfect on its own. This is great for a main dish. You can have this along with something else if you like. But again, this took like no time to put together. It is a well-balanced meal. Oh, you could also add a piece of avocado to your bowl, so you have that healthy fat. The walnuts also add a nice source of healthy fat. You have your protein from your tempeh and your carbs, low carbs, but carbs nonetheless. But again, low carb meal. from your cabbage. And so very simple, very quick, very tasty, very economical. It's not going to break the bank. And again, it's versatile. So play with your ingredients, play with your protein. Maybe instead of cabbage, you use cauliflower or, some other grain like millet or bulgur or couscous or quinoa. You're limited by the limits of your creativity.